Hello and welcome to Netrepreneurs English Edition first interview. This interview is with Daan Weddepohl, straight from Amsterdam. Hi and everyone, welcome to you, Dan.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Hi to you, Martin.
Thanks you
Great
for
to be
being
with you.
here. It's great. So how do it comes that I have Dan in my interview? Dan and I, we were living together in my student time in a student flat, and in the evening we'd enjoy a glass of wine and we were brainstorming business ideas. I don't know, Dan, how much business ideas have we brainstormed? Like 30, 40, 50? I can't remember, but it has both led us to a path of where we're right now, so I think there was great brain food. And Dan has recently enjoyed enormous success with his recent business ideas, but he will tell us all about this. In this interview, it's not completely the focus on the business idea. Netrepreneurs believe that the seed for success lies in the person itself and the personal growth, and that financial or worldly success is just the outside thing of what's going on inside. So in this interview we're going to focus on Dan as a person and how that led to being successful. Dan, can you just start with just introducing yourself, giving us a quick wrap up, 2-3 minutes, your whole life, bing bong birth from now?
My whole life?
Yeah, just
right.
give us, where did you grow up, where did you go to school, what were your parents like, what did you do, different jobs, stuff like that.
Okay, let's see. I was born in Rotterdam. My parents were both psychologists, and I actually grew up more in the east of the Netherlands. Let's see. Until I was not a very good high school student, although I did like the highest grade of high school. I never really, school was never really my thing. Although I was quite a good...
Yes, I'm listening, I just need to get a pen.
Yeah, I was a good programmer, I think.
Okay.
When I was like 10 or 12, I started programming. And in assembly, actually, I did like these really cool demo stuff. So tried to make flame demos in three-dimensional rotating landscapes and stuff like that. But then when I went to school and I had like a sine cosine exam, nothing. I flunked. So that was something really weird. But actually, I was really good with computers. So when I was done with school and school was done with me, I rolled straight into IT. And within a few years, I was taking care of like the networks for banks that they use to trade stock, and like the international connections for multinationals to connect financial and logistic transactions and stuff like that. And then I got bored and I decided to become a snowboard instructor.
Okay, yeah.
So I got my diploma, but right before I went to Austria to actually become a snowboard instructor, to be a snowboard instructor, I broke my leg. So then Shit. Yes, that was pretty shitty. So I had to find something else to do, and well, computers are still a thing you can still do well even if you have a broken leg. So
Yeah.
that's when I decided to start my first company. So it was really an accident. Yeah, I wanted to go snowboarding, but I couldn't, so I started a company. I did that for a few years, and at first I was on my own, and later I started a second company with two guys. One very commercial guy, one very technical guy, and we built the software company into a pretty well-running company, and we sold it, and then I went to drama school.
Okay, so just question, you got bored with that company too?
No, I didn't get bored. No, but it's always hard to reconstruct why you do things looking back,
Yeah.
because you have all these we try to explain, and we think we have all these reasons, but I think in the end, I just wanted to do acting really badly, and I got a chance to get in there. So it's like 300, 400 people auditioning and 10 that get in. So I didn't really expect to get in, but when I got in, I was like, okay, this is a chance I have to take. So let's do it.
Great.
That's why we sold the company. Well, then I became an actor. In the meanwhile, I also worked in Kiev as a technical director for a company as a CTO for half a year. But mainly I was acting. So I did some like guest parts in television series here in the Netherlands, some commercials, some theater work. And then I started to have new ideas again about companies I wanted to start. And the first few ideas I didn't really continue, because every time I would find a reason why I wouldn't want to continue. And what that taught me actually was not that those were bad ideas, but that you will always find a reason why you should not continue. And that if you follow up on that idea, on that feeling on that reason, that you will never probably do anything.
Yeah.
So this time I thought, okay, I've got this idea, let's just run with it. I'll find reasons why not to do it, and then I'll do it anyway. So that was my last idea. It started off as something called Rippler. What I wanted to do is connect people based on their location, like not because of the people know each other, but because of their location, send each other messages. But that was kind of complicated because you need really, really intelligent filtering, or if you want to make those messages relevant and not just spam the hell out of everybody. Yeah. So after I was looking for a way to make this really useful and easy to explain, and then I read this book called What's Mine Is Yours by Rachel Botsman and Rue Rogers, and that really inspired me to do something useful with it, to try and create this possibility of collaborative consumption in the Netherlands and possibly the world. So that's how I came to the idea of Peerby, which is an app and a website that enables consumers to rent goods from people nearby. And that's
wow. You've worked on that pitch. Really, that's a really great pitch now.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, that's basically from year zero till where I am now.
Okay, and before we start, really deep into your personality, what amazes me most is that I don't know for how long I know you, like 6 years, something like this, 6-7 years, and I've seen you do lots of things, and suddenly I see you do things very differently, and I think we come to that point where we explain where that sentence comes from, but you're really living like being on or ahead of schedule right now. Sure, we talk about this later, but can you tell us what's happened with your idea? Because you decided to go through with the idea and then suddenly went zoom. Can you tell us like a little bit about like the funding, the Found Institute, stuff like this?
Yeah, at first I went pretty easy on the idea, but I got some. I started to write a government, requested a government for an innovation grant here in the Netherlands, and I actually got the grant. So that was really a milestone. I had 30,000 euros. So let's get going. Let's get this team together and really start building the software. And then I saw that the Founder Institute was coming to Amsterdam. A company called Together, which is also starting in Amsterdam by Martin Voorzanger. He showed it to me. He said, "Look, the Founder Institute is coming. You should join it." Mm-hmm. So I just enrolled, I enrolled for the tests. So you have to do a lot of testing, like personality tests, intelligence tests, and stuff like that. And I got selected. So And that's when things really started to take off. Founder Institute is like really it's like a an incubator program. Like you don't really have to have an ID, but it's hard. The Founder Institute is much harder if you don't. So and just they told me it was a shitty idea at first, but I just held on to it and tried to find ways to make it a good idea. And that's actually now, I think the very first slide that they show you when you join the Founder Institute is, oh my God, your ID sucks, but that's okay, we'll fix it. And so that's what the Founder Institute is about, trying to spend 3 to 4 months on taking like an average ID and turning it into a really great ID.
Yeah. And now you've built your team. You have the core team, but you still go on building the team. I know you're looking for technical guys probably all the time, and financial and stuff like this. But then something like right about time of graduation from Founders Institute, the media picked up on your idea, and then, you told me about your plan. You wanted to have, I think, 600 subscribers in the first 3 months, and you've reached, how many people were on your waiting list before you even started?
We have 1,500 now, which is...
And it's just a really, really small location in Amsterdam, is that true?
No, that's not true. That's not true. No. Okay. That's all of the Netherlands right now.
Okay, all right.
But for the Netherlands, that is actually a pretty large number, and it's ahead of schedule. It definitely is ahead of schedule. Yeah, I wasn't planning on telling this on national television, but like I'd say probably the most important television program in the Netherlands picked up on the ID. And they invited me at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon to be in the studio at 8:30 and tell about it on television. And at first I was thinking, is this a good idea? Because we weren't ready yet. We didn't have an alpha version even. So we were doing like really, really small testing. And then I thought, that this is probably the only chance I'll get to be on this television program, so let's just go. I mean, the worst thing that I can do right now is not go and well, think about what would have happened if I did go.
Yeah.
So I went, and that really created an enormous amount of attention. So there was a lot of after that there's lots of media coverage. I was on the front page of the Dutch Financial Times last week. So it's just keeps on going and going.
Okay.
People apparently really like the idea.
That's cool. And then now you straight from Founders Institute, you switched to a different incubator for second phase startup kind of.
I got what do you call that? Admitted at Rockstart, which is a really cool program, I think. And is the connection still okay?
It's a bit chubby, but that will be alright. That's just my connection. I'm living here in really beautiful outskirts of Dortmund. I see the deers running by in the morning. But hell, internet connection is not really great here.
Okay. Let me start again. Oh yeah, so I'm gonna start Rockstart on the 23rd of March, which is an Amsterdam accelerator program. And I'm really, really happy and really proud that we were selected, because there were also hundreds of applicants, and we're among the 10 that got selected, and I think that's going to be really cool.
Cool.
Yeah, it's going to be 100 days of acceleration, then 100 days of bringing your product to market, and then a 25-day trip to Silicon Valley to Google and Mozilla Forward and the entrepreneurs, the startup house, I think, in San Francisco. So pretty cool.
That sounds really great. Well, I think think we've mapped out the recent success, kinda. Can you tell me like when did you get the first grant and what it's now? What kind of time span is that?
I think it was the end of last summer. So we're almost spring 2012 now. So it was the end of summer, like fall 2011, something like that. I think.
Everything we were just talking about, from just submitting your idea, just writing documents, submitting it, until now, it's like half a year.
Yeah, well, I think the writing of the document was a bit earlier. The government takes a long time to read this and accept the application. But like when I got the grant and we could get started on really doing the project, I think that was fall. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Well, I think so. I think we've mapped out kind of your recent success. Let's see where that comes from, Let's, try to identify stuff in you that made that happen. And maybe you can start with giving some ideas. What do you think? What's unique about you that contributed to you doing now what you're doing now?
All right. My apologies, by the way, for the sounds. They're rebuilding the apartment above. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but they're drilling and pounding. So.
Naturepreneurs is a really relaxed interview series. We also have cats coming by, dogs barking. That's totally fine.
Okay. Okay, but you're okay. So your question was what is the cause of the success?
Yeah, or maybe let's start one step before. So can you tell us something about your personality? What's unique about you as a person?
Well, I think one thing that I'm really happy about is the fact that I have like this. In the Netherlands, they call it alpha and beta brain. So alpha would be like the language and psychology and human factor, and beta would be more like the scientific, analytical programmer's brain. And I think most people have either one of those two. They have most people have like a focus in their brain. Maybe it's left or right. I don't know what it is. I'm not a brain expert, but and I think I'm very lucky to have like a combination of those two.
Okay.
So it's easier for me to do both. So and I think that has really helped me in the past as well. When I had the software company, I could really talk to the business people and then translate what they want into a technical solution that would really match the problem or the challenge. So I think that's one thing that you could call unique.
Okay, so basically, you can easily switch between different ways of perceiving reality. Is that what you're saying?
I suppose so. Yeah, I suppose so.
Okay, so and this is also. Do you have lots of different interests? Because like snowboard, computer, drama. What kind of different interests do you have?
I think it's very diverse. But I don't have any hobbies, because every time I start a hobby, I become a professional, because I go all the way. I really want to do it. So I go snowboarding once, and then like a year later I'm an instructor, or I start acting, and a few years later I'm in television series, because I really love. I just run with the stuff that I pick up. There's no hobbies left. Never. If I start a new hobby, I become a professional, or either I stop after a while. I played poker for a while, but I couldn't become good enough at it to become a professional, so I don't do that anymore.
So this is something really great. So let me paraphrase that, okay? So if you pick up something, you need to become the best person or one of the top person doing that, Otherwise, if you see you can't reach that level, you quit when you realize that. Is that true?
Um, I guess so. It's not with everything, you know. I like to do some sailing, and I'm not the best sailor in the world, and
Okay.
I'm definitely not the best actor in the world, but I really like to achieve stuff. It's not that I really want to be the best of the best, but I just put in so much time and effort, and I'm so serious about and so passionate about doing it that it has to turn into something, or I'm just not good at it.
Yeah. Okay. What I'm trying to find out is here: are you motivated, to become really good, or are you just so full of passion? You spend time with it that you'll just naturally improve. Is it more? Is it a decision you make, or is it just like what you just drawn into that because it's so much fun and you improve while doing it?
That's a good question. One thing that comes to mind for me is that I'm not a solid believer in decisions. I think a lot of things in our life happen, and then we tell ourselves it's a decision. But I think, yeah, these things just happen. They happen to me, and of course, I'm not a victim. That's not what I'm saying. I mean, far from. I'm just a bit too fanatic, I guess. Just want to be good at something, and I enjoy doing it. It's a combination of both. So it's probably a determination to become really good and enjoying the process and having a lot of passion and spending a lot of hours on doing it. So it's the combination of loving the process and the result, I guess.
Combination of loving the process and the result. I think that's probably going to be the second slide on the Founders Institute pretty soon. Okay, that's great. Can you? So most people love the end result. They're totally focused on end results. I mean, in the German version of Entrepreneurs, we've talked a lot about setting goals, visualization, how to incorporate daily goal visualization, routines and stuff. But most people don't really necessarily enjoy the process. So do you think having passion and love for the process is a prerequisite for success?
I'm not sure. I think that's the way I would want my life to be. I mean, why do something if you don't enjoy the process? If you're I'm not sure what it is in English, but in Dutch there's a saying like you have to eat through the sour apple, which means like just hold on, it'll become better. You have to do crappy stuff now, but you'll enjoy the future because you did all this crappy stuff. And I think if you live your life with the idea that things will get better later, then that means right now it's always sad and not so good and not so enjoyable. So I think I'm not sure. I think you could have success. I think you could definitely have success and not enjoy the process. But why would you? It's like a
why would you?
Life.
So so this is really interesting, and I'm trying to, I think one thing I'm really strongly feeling that is really part of your success is going all the way, but I mean, you have left things. You didn't become a professional poker player. No, I mean,
I just lost a lot of money.
yeah. But I mean, there are people becoming professional poker players. I mean, just the other day we talked to the guy who was, living in Paris for a few years, just doing poker. Can you tell me what's the difference between, acting and working on PRB and becoming a poker player? Where does it feel different? Where did the passion turn a different way? Because I mean, at the start of your passion for poker, I mean, that was a possibility to become a pro player.
I think the main thing about not becoming a professional poker player, I think an important factor in that was that I am probably not, I don't have a natural talent for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm okay, but I have a natural talent for it. And possibly I could become much better if I practiced a lot, but I think a lot of my initial motivation also comes from this feeling of, wow, I can do this pretty well. I'm pretty good at this.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, maybe now that you mention it, probably when I'm doing something and I realize that I will never become very, very good at it, maybe then I go like, maybe it's not that I still like to play a game of poker, but it's not like I really keep following that passion, that faith. It doesn't really turn into a passion. It's like, first it's a hobby, I like it and I do it now and then, and I buy some books on it and I read up on it, and then I discover that I'm not such a natural that I run with it.
Okay, but
so that's for poker.
Before you said there's always a reason not to continue. So this also sounds like a thought, which is one of those reasons. And then you said, but I went and did it anyway. So I think here lies a really interesting thing, because obviously with some things you still decide not to do it anyway, but with some things you decide to do it anyway, even if there are thoughts of, failure. So I'm sure you've had plenty of thoughts with failure, with preview, and am I the right person to do it? I can't do apps. I don't know, shouldn't I just go on acting and stuff? I have my network here. So what is, is there, do you see some difference in there?
It's an interesting one. I think, wow, it's a good question. Yeah, what happens there? I think with Peerby, I also really want to achieve the end goal. Mm-hmm. Or no, it's not even that. It's, wow, it's such a good question. I don't know the answer to that, I think.
I have an idea, but I'm not quite sure. But here's what I propose. There's always a reason not to continue, and it's easier to stop if you're just doing something for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing something which is much bigger than yourself, any reason not to continue, which is just about you, it's just about you. It's not a reason, to stop the whole process. And you probably feel more inclined to go through that. And that, I don't know, but that is my feeling with Peerby, what you said before. That was more about you, becoming an actor, becoming snowboard instructor, having a company. This one was more you-centered. Whereas when you talk about Peerby, I don't see you saying much I see you talking more in terms of the idea and you being part of the idea driving that forward. Is that something you can relate to?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, the funny thing about Peerby is like it's one of the first projects where really everything is just falling into place. Things are coming together. It's I didn't go out and look for people. People came to me and said, "I love this idea. Can I join?"
Yeah.
And that's a great way of working. And also with the press, I did not go through the press. The press came to me, and it's like this plan is having a life of its own, and all I can do is just follow it and do it. So that's a difference. But like with the acting career, I'm not entirely convinced that what you're saying is applicable to everything. Because with the acting career, it was very much about me, I think. And I also kept doing that, also with major setbacks. I decided to keep going. So I think it's really about the love of doing that. about having the feeling that you need to do that. With poker, I didn't feel like I needed to do that. It was just a fun thing to do, and then, you know, it's easy to let go if it's not a great success. If you just lose money, then like, oh well, it was fun. Let's find something else.
Yeah.
I'll do it once in a while, and yeah. But with the acting, it was different. I felt really convinced to continue. Yeah. Where does something like that come from? Where does love or passion come from? Why do you love something? That's almost philosophical, right?
Well, it is philosophical, and I just had thought what you were just saying could also be interpreted, you know, almost on a spiritual level. You know, you're saying like the idea just comes, it just flows through me. You know, that's how a lot of people would describe their spiritual experience, being more a tool of a higher power, and in your case, maybe an idea which has to do with, you know, improving the world condition for everyone. But you don't see yourself as doing this. You see yourself more as being the catalyst for that idea and turning that into something real, touchable, people can use. And I think this is also why people are drawn to it, because they see this, you know, as a big project. Just the other day I was talking to a guy and he confirmed what I also feel, that it's much easier to get 10 million for an idea than to get 10,000 euros.
Yeah.
You know, if you think really big, people will be drawn to your idea. You know, it's like a huge big light in the night and all the moths are flying towards it. If you're thinking like, okay, this is going to be a really gross picture, sorry, but how am I going to keep this fire alive, you know? And you start a really small one because you're afraid the candle is going to burn out, you know? No one's going to see this. But if you make a huge fire, people are going to, whoa, this is huge fire. Let's bring some wood to keep it alive, you know? This is the way I feel. What's maybe different also with PRB, that it's a really big idea. I mean, you have a global vision here.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. It took a while to develop the confidence to think globally, and I think that makes it different.
I think it's not just the confidence to think globally, but to confidently speak out your vision and accept the possibility of failure, but then rather fail big than fail small.
Yeah. If I fail, let's fail huge. Let's
You
make
know?
it a huge fail.
Yeah, like this might feel like, if I fail, let's make that thing so big that even in failure, you know, change something profoundly in the experience of other people. Like, let that not just be my little failure, but you know, because I think it's, yeah, let's talk about failure. I think that's interesting, because you just mentioned setbacks, that even with acting, even with a lot of setbacks, you kept straight and you tried. Can you tell me about setbacks you've had in your life? Maybe connected with acting.
Yeah, I didn't finish my acting school all at once. I did 2 years on a private school, and then I got accepted at very well-regarded institute in the Netherlands, which was like the coming true of a big dream. Actually, when I was at the private school, I still owned my company, so I kind of simplified the history. But then when I went to this big institute, that's when I sold the company, because you need to focus. I think that's very important. You just need to do that full time. And I failed after a year. I couldn't continue there. Partly probably because I set my goals too high, because I had like a choice for the last round of the selections between this institute and another institute, and I think the institute I went to was probably the more difficult one. It
Okay.
was the one that was further away from the qualities I already had,
Mm-hmm.
and I at that time I thought, let's go to this institute that's really new for me, that's really gonna change a lot, that I will have to change my views and my beliefs and everything to be able to do this. And it took me more than a year to really integrate these ideas and these views.
Mm-hmm.
This is like a really there's 10 people per year that get accepted, and they have to be excellent. And I needed more time to reach this excellence than 1 year, so I
Mm-hmm.
didn't make the first year.
Okay.
So that was a major setback for me.
So
That
you
was
were kicked out,
I was kicked out. I sold my company to go there, and I was kicked out after 1 year.
So you sold your company to follow your dream, and then, given that it's really important to you that you feel you're very good at what you're doing, someone told you that, so you're just not good enough for your dream.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, wow. That sounds like a quite kind of a major setback from emotional perspective.
Very much, yes.
So how and now it's the really interesting part. How did you cope with that? What did that do with you, and what was the emotional process that followed that situation?
I think the first thing that happened is that I thought, I'll continue. I'm going to continue. So at first, I was talking to all kinds of teachers there and to the director and all people. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna quit. I'm gonna continue. And after a while, it really turned out that wasn't an option.
Mm-hmm.
So then I thought, okay, then I'm going to continue at another institute.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go and do that. And I talked to them, and they said, well, yeah, maybe you could, but you'll just have to audition, and that will be in like a year or something, or half a year. All that time, I didn't really realize or accept the loss yet. I was like, okay, this is a setback, but I'm going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's only after, I think after like half a year, it was probably half a year, that that I did these new auditions for the other institute, and suddenly this institute that used to be very enthusiastic about my performance was now not so enthusiastic, and I feel it was probably because I had like partly integrated the new ideas of my first institute and kind of, so I was like an in-between. I was like a half-baked product. Not sure if that in English that's correct. In Dutch, you're like a half-baked. It's like
Yeah.
a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but nothing that no completeness in either. And in acting, in my acting, in my way of acting. So I didn't get accepted there, and that's when the major setback fall. That's when I really started to feel the setback, because it was a combination of stuff. I didn't get accepted there. It was like the end of a long line of not accepting the loss, and then suddenly there were no options, or there's always options, but suddenly the last option in my mind had failed. And a lot of other stuff happened. Like my house burned down. I was rescued by firemen from my house.
Whoa.
That was hectic. That really put pressure on the relationship with my girlfriend, who was also there, and we moved in together. And then our relationship ended. And then the company in Kiev I worked for got sold, and the new director and I didn't get along. So that job ended. So all of a sudden, I didn't have like this idea where I was going. I was going nowhere. I had no job. I filled the auditions of the last of my last hope, my last resort. I didn't have a relationship anymore, so everything that I based my life on was basically gone. No home, no job, no relationship. And that was, yeah, that was the biggest setback I ever felt. And I think it might have been the first time that I actually let it touch me, accepted the fact that it was a failure, and accept failure as being part of my life. So not trying to hold on, but letting go. Like, okay, I lost this. I'm back to zero now. I have nothing that defines me as a person. You know, if people ask me what do you do, it's just me. I have my name and I have my personality, but I have no great job to talk about, no great career to talk about, no relationship to talk about. It's just me and my body.
I can't help but draw another parallel to spiritual path people go, because this is what people, for example, the sadhus in India, this is what they want to achieve. When they go and live in the forest. This is basically the deconstruction of ego. Just be you, just be blank, not be blinded by I don't know, socialization or expectations of other people, or your own expectations about you. So can you tell a little bit how that made you feel? Because I think there was probably quite a negative feeling in the beginning, but then it seems it turned you once you accepted that feeling changed.
Yeah, at first it was terrible. I couldn't really accept it. I needed to do stuff. Like when I was in the middle of still losing everything, I booked a single ticket to Istanbul. Like you got just
one
single,
ticket,
so you can't go back.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
And I was traveling like a madman. I think in a few days I traveled to like Troy, then I traveled to Greece, then I traveled to Rome, then I went to Berlin. I was like just flying across Europe in an attempt to get away from something that I couldn't get away from myself, or something, I guess. My frustration, my failure. And then I came home. And yeah, that kind of made, I think during that journey, I discovered that I couldn't escape from myself, and that the only thing that really made me happy during that trip was meeting other people and having a good time with them, and really connecting. And yeah, so then I just decided to, I'm not sure if I decided, but what happened then is I let go. Just let go, and I accepted the fact that there was nothing. And I remember for quite a few weeks, or maybe even months, my day consisted of getting up in the morning, making myself some tea, just looking over the river. I lived by the river then. Making a to-do list, and the to-do list would include take a shower, have breakfast, and maybe like go to yoga or go running and meet someone. That would be my to-do list. So and I would make it so that it would be something so that it would be incredibly achievable, go running and meet someone, and then usually a specific person. That would be my life, and that would be my goals for that day. And it felt really good. felt good to accept that that was all I did for a while. Just be, take care of my body a little bit, take care of my social life, but not anything else. No major goals or having to be important or respected or whatever. Yeah, and I think that what it taught me mostly, and what I still believe in, is that not to force things, because I think life has like a natural flow, and I see when I look back at myself, and I also see it in some other people, a lot of young people as well. They wanna force things before they are meant to happen. Like you want to have success before it's meant to be there. You want to be managing teams before you're actually mature enough to really manage yourself. And you can get a long way, but it takes so much effort and so much power instead of that it happens and that you're ready for it. And so I really believe in not forcing yourself, and also not forcing others. And I think that's one very important thing also about teams, that if you try to make people do stuff that they are not convinced about, that they don't really like, then it will never really work. Might work a little bit, might work for a while, but it'll take so much energy. So I think that's an important thing that I took out of it.
Okay.
Use the things that it's like I'm not sure that this ancient fighting technique where you not try to to fight back, you try to use the force that.
Yeah.
I think it's something like that. Use the forces that exist and combine those in a smart way, but do not try to force something into existence that never wanted to exist in the first place.
It's so funny because I started doing these business interviews, but as it turns out, the more profoundly successful people get, the more their business views, like spiritual view, kind of, like what that this is so basic what you're describing. This can be applied to pretty much every aspect of life, I think.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
Okay.
I try to apply it to everything. Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of what would you say to someone watching this video? I mean, this is a chance now. People watching this video, people want to be successful. They might be, trying to force things like go. What are some steps you can tell people they can start doing today to move towards that's being successful in a flow, because it's naturally meant to be, instead of forcing it and having to put in lots of power in order to keep that success tension up?
Yeah. I think it has to do. It has to do with accepting failure. I think because there is no such thing as failure. Failure is the process. It's the process of succeeding. So if you accept to let go, I think failure is also accepting to let go of some things. And letting go of things enables you to do new things. So it enables you to pivot. So if you discover that your business idea is not working the way you wanted it to work, or you expected it to work, if you really hang on to it, like, no, it's got to be this way, then it's going to cost a lot of energy, and in the end it will probably still not work, because it's still the same idea that didn't work. But if you're willing to let go, if you're accepting failure, let's call it failure, but I don't think it is no longer failure when you accept it as something that happens. Some things work and some things don't, and the things that don't work, you exchange them for stuff that does work, and then all of a sudden it's not failure anymore. It's just a process of discovery.
What kinds of actions, thoughts, things did you do in order to change your mindset from failure being something negative to be avoided to failure something which is part of process of success? I think that's just a really nice saying, and that's in my world we think a lot of in dynamical systems. So this is for me, this is just information, it's just feedback. Failures, the most important feedback loop in that system, and if you take out that feedback loop, your iterations to improve get really long. If you take failure in, you can do lots of short iteration. But you need that mindset to embrace, failure, but not to program for failure, but accept this as important information. So what did you do? Like, do you have some really easy tricks or tips in order how to deal with that, or how you change your mindset?
Wow, easy tips and tricks. Change your life. Work hard and stay in school. No. I didn't stay in school. I'm not sure if there are any easy tips and tricks, but I think if you accept, or if everything is about you and yourself, and if you are afraid that failure might reflect on you as not being a good person, or that if you're trying to avoid this terrible faith that you're afraid of, then that will probably bring you straight to that faith. And so I think the easiest, still not easy, it's the hardest thing, but it's very simple, but it's very hard. But I think is try to do things out of passion and out of fear. And I think most of the time we human beings kind of try not to accept our fear, try to neglect. We try to think of all kinds of logical reasons, and we say, no, I'm not afraid. I'm just looking for 100 reasons why I should be doing this. I just want to check, and I want to check again, and I want to have control, and I want to look at it. Wow, something fell down. It just somewhere. All right.
Well, you're still alive.
I'm still alive. Yeah, it's good. There's a floor in between me and the apartment above me. About fear. Yeah, I think fear law rules. We want to have control. We're afraid of risk, and in reality, I don't think in the Western world everything is pretty safe. Not a lot can happen. So most of our fears are actually, a bit exaggerated, but we don't want to call them fears, and we don't want to accept that we are afraid, and so it's really weird. Most of us are really afraid, and we don't do all kinds of stuff because we're afraid, and then we don't accept the fact that we are afraid, so we cannot change it. Yeah. It's like we're afraid, but we don't want to tell ourselves that we are. It's like that. Yeah. So I say, start being afraid. That's the first step. And then if you accept that you're afraid, then maybe you can take another step and not be so afraid anymore.
So if I can, just to check if I get that right, if you do things for your ego, if you do things in order to be loved, let's make it very simple. The possibility of failure will increase fear to such a level that the thought of failure will stop you in any action because you're just afraid of that big failure thing. And
it might stop you, or it might make you try and force things do that maybe you shouldn't do, or yeah, it's always it can take different forms, but I always think that fear is not a really good driver.
Okay, and so if you do things out of passion, that is mostly something which you probably share with someone else because other people might have the same passion, so it's not just something for you, and you would do that anyway, no matter what people say, because that's what you believe in, what you feel you have to do. And then the whole concept of ego and fear becomes meaningless because it's not something which will touch you. You'll go that path anyway. So, so with every failure included, and that kind of negates the concept of failure because failure is something that stops you. So then,
I think a funny example, something I really notice about leadership is that the worst leaders are the people that are afraid that nobody will listen to them. That's a really strange. I mean, and it's not like you can just turn it off. You cannot just turn off fear. There's no button for that. But if I just look at the effects of fear, then I can see that fear doesn't work. And then the big question is, so how do you stop being afraid? Or maybe how do you just accept that you're afraid and that's it. Do not try to avoid fear. Maybe it's even more like that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're afraid but you don't accept the fact that you are, and you try to lead a team while you're afraid that nobody will listen to you, then that will turn out pretty badly.
Yeah, that will probably turn out the way you're so focused on nobody will listen to you that actually nobody will listen to you.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Well, Dan, thank you. I think this is so really great, valuable stuff. I think we could touch on, a few more aspects, but I really feel that, to me, we have gotten to the core of what has made you successful. And I think this is, the combination of different interests, of, having the cognitive possibility. We didn't talk about your IQ. We don't know, but you're pretty brainy. You have the possibility of switching perspectives from a cognitive, just computing standpoint, and you have those two thinking versions. One which is more emotional and one which is more cognitive, mathematical, and you have combined that was, which to me sounds like a spiritual process, but you could call that personal growth, without you actually planning that, but life just, put you in that situation, and you just kind of had yourself go through that because it just happens. But now, looking back, hindsight bias, we talked about it before, it looks like there's kind of pre-planned process or something, which of course it wasn't, but it could be interpreted now as a process other people could follow.
Yeah. Well, I don't advise burning your house down, but try to simulate it in some kind of way, perhaps. Yeah. That'll be hard. I'm terribly unlucky and lucky as well that I found that there was a moment in my life that I suddenly lost everything, and that's really hard to reproduce, I think, on purpose.
Yeah, but this is something I hear from almost everyone who is really successful. Mm-hmm. And here for you, this is more about personal growth, I think, in that situation, but there is always one situation where there is no other option than to become massively successful now. And I think for you, this was also the moment of truth, like, do I take that situation and go into eternal depression, or do I accept that and use that emotional force for personal growth? And I think you've, made the right decision, even though it doesn't feel like a decision.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, doesn't feel like a decision, but I'm thankful that I went the right way. I think, and
Yeah. And to
yeah,
round up the whole process, I think that moment when you were traveling, when you were finding you couldn't get away from something which was within you, the urge to, find something on the outside, which actually was on the inside. I
hmm
think this is like the message I would like to give with those interviews that everything that happens on the outside is just a product of what happens in the inside. And I think PRB is the product of, finding your true passion. And I think that passion is also in acting and maybe even, teaching snowboard and stuff. But here it's on a much larger scale. So
yeah. And actually, Kirby is integrating the acting part now because I'm pitching so much on television, telling people about this. So it's suddenly can really use this skill that I picked up. Yeah,
yeah,
it's funny.
yeah, everything's falling into place. So everything, the puzzle is coming together.
Yeah.
Well, thank you,
That's
thank you.
some part,
Yeah,
but
this is really great. There's one more question I would like to ask you, and this is a really important question. This is because this is the first interview in the English Netterpreneur series. I explain it that I always ask you to tell me 3 people that really inspired you that we would
right.
love to have on this interview. So
Okay.
that this is kind of a viral system, you tell me 3 people, at least one of those people is going to have an interview, I hope, and then I move from there, and I hope that when you tell me who inspired you, we improve we get to people who are at least same level of inspiration that you give.
Yeah. I was thinking that I could really make this difficult for you and say I think it was Oprah Winfrey, Steve Jobs, and George Clooney.
Okay. Well, I also try to go all the way, so I'll try to, reach Steve Jobs. But that might cost a lot for the medium to employ. So
Yeah.
maybe you have some more living, accessible people ideas about who you think has also shown that they have built success from starting with the inside.
I think you should really talk to Ingeborg Bos. I think she's really great. She is not so much an entrepreneur, but then again, she is really pretty much an entrepreneur. I think, in that she developed a psychological method to do this, and she's writing books about this, and she's spreading this across the world. So I think if you get to talk to her, that would be really cool.
Okay. So she came up with the theoretical framework that you used for your personal development.
Yeah, it's her method in her books really inspired me.
Okay.
So it's about past reality integration. Just I really strongly advise people to have a look at that because it's been a great help to me. Then I think it would be interesting to talk to Adeo Ressi, the founder of the Founder Institute.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
He's an interesting guy. It's completely different from Ingeborg, probably.
Yes.
And he built the Founder Institute, and he is going really, really, really fast. And I think it would be interesting to know more about the man behind Adeo. So if you could talk to him, try to do that. And the third person. Well, my mom really inspired me, but I'm afraid you can't talk to her anymore.
Okay.
Or if you go and talk to Steve Jobs, go and talk to my mom as well.
Okay, I can't talk to your mom, but just two, three sentences, what really inspired you about your mom?
I think the fact that she evolved so much in her life. So she started off with a really pretty bad childhood, and she moved on from like surviving life into just living and enjoying life. And it took her probably 40 years to do it, but it's incredible to witness such growth. Even if I think that installed in me the belief that you can always keep growing and keep enjoying life more. So you're never too old to become, to become a bigger person. And bigger sounds like you have to be better, like you're not good enough right now. That's not what I'm aiming at, but it's like you can always, fulfill your life, something like that.
Okay, so Ingeborg Bos, Adeo Lassi, maybe
Resi.
one more.
Adeo Resi.
Lassi.
No, Ressi. Then a third person. It's not an entrepreneur. Yeah, maybe it is. No, I can. Try. Yeah. I really like Nelleke Zitman. She's actually an actress, a Dutch actress, and she's running the acting one of the acting schools I was in right now. But she's not an entrepreneur, not a netrepreneur. You're probably looking for netrepreneurs, right? So Adeo would probably fit that bill. So if I would have to think of an entrepreneur on the internet, let's see, there's so many people that come to mind, but so hard to really pick one that was like really a key inspirational figure. What's funny is that I looked at a lot of technology also, and that really inspired me. So if you when I looked at the Google search engine, in the early days, I don't know the people that were behind it, but it really inspired me that you could do things differently. Find an entrepreneur. This is going to be a really, really boring interview. I hope you're going to cut this, right? The thinking part, like.
Well, that's okay. I mean, if you don't come up with someone who's like, really, that guy inspired me, you've given some names, so that's cool. I mean, we don't need to, force it.
I'm pretty sure I can come up with someone if I give it some thought today.
Okay.
So
if you come up with someone, you email me.
Yeah, I'll send you the final name by email.
Okay, that's great. So let's just wait until that final name, no matter what you're doing, pops up in your head. Try not to think about it. That will be the person I call first for an interview. Cool. Okay, Dan, thank you very, very much for the interview. Any final thought? What do you think about the interview?
I had a great time. It's fun to talk about these things, and I think it's great that you're looking for this almost spiritual thing behind, enjoying life. You could call it success, but you could also just call it, fulfilling your passions. Yeah, that's what it is for me. I'd say, yeah.
Yeah, maybe I need to change the name from Netrepreneurs to something more general, something more profound, something like liveyourpassion.com, and that probably already exists or something, but yeah.
And ask Oprah to promote it.
Yeah, but I actually really enjoy the symbiosis, of entrepreneurship, because I think this is like what's going to move the world forward in the next 100 years. It's not gonna be, like states or big organizations. It's going to be small teams that have huge effect using scalability of technology, and then but the seed of that should be, a spiritual passion or doesn't need to be spiritual. People can call it whatever they want, but needs to come from the heart. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that one commercial. The people that change the world are the ones that are crazy enough to think they can.
Yeah.
So that those kinds of people, I guess.
Okay, thank you. I think this was the perfect ending sentence. So everyone who's crazy enough to believe that they can change the world for the better, come and watch our interviews, make suggestions for people you want to see, share your story. Thank you so much for this interview, Daan. I wish you have lots and lots of success. And guys, if you want to check out current status, go to peerb.com, and it's going to be in your neighborhood pretty soon, I'm sure.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Good luck to you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Daan.